vision, focus, and ability to motivate themselves to get where they want to be.
Okay. I'm just remembering some of the courses I've been on for training for IT and stuff in the past, and you just think, no, it's never going to happen.
Look, I mean, that's a valid point, but you must realise that people are investing a lot of money into these courses.
Mm-hmm.
So they've thought long and hard about whether they want to do it or not. And, I must say we've been very, very fortunate that, people on our courses really want to be there. They really want to be butlers. They really want jobs. I might just add as well that after they get the training with us, they then go on to the Ritz London, which is one of the finest hotels in the world, and they get work experience.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's that old adage where you've got your qualification, you knock on recruitment doors, and they say, but you've got no experience. So what we are doing is then they go on to the Ritz London, and that goes onto their CV straight away. So they're getting practical experience, which is invaluable.
Yeah, actually the work experience is great. From the courses I've done before, I've changed careers. I've just got this bit of paper, and they just say they've got no experience. So that's good to hear.
It is. I mean, we are passionate about getting people jobs, because some of the people coming onto these courses are sent by their households, and that's fine. But there are other people that come on these courses, changing their lives. They want jobs. So through our recruitment division or through the Ritz London, they're able to find a vehicle to get these jobs.
How can we find out more about the British Butler Institute?
That's fairly straightforward. We're in a very fortunate position that through the internet, on our website, which is a very long, wonderful web address, www.britishbutlerinstitute.com. There are many articles in various publications from around the world, as well as YouTube clips from CNN and the likes. We've had some great exposure and coverage in China, Japan, Shanghai, America, and obviously the UK. So if you type in the British Butler Institute into Google or any of the search engines, you're very, very sure to find us.
Okay, that's great. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
You're listening to the John Guinn Travel Show on seclosounds.org.
Step into the spotlight with me, Lucy, every Wednesday between 6 and 7 p.m. on Seclo Sounds. I'll have new music, the latest entertainment news, and interviews with local bands. If you're in a band, or if you have music that you think I should be playing, I'd love to hear from you. Email me, lucy@seclosounds.org, and join me every Wednesday from 6 till 7 for Spotlight on Seclo Sounds.
You can contact us or just keep up to date with travel news at facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. Once again, the website for the British Butler Institute is www.britishbutlerinstitute.com. Now, 6 tips to keep your home safe while you're away. I can't be the only one who worries about their home while they're away. Sure, I have an alarm and I've asked my neighbours to keep an eye out, but still. It did used to be worse when I went away. I used to worry about the flights as well, so at least it's the one thing I worry about now. And it isn't just break-ins I'm concerned about. I'm sure you know at least one person who has come home from holiday to be welcomed by a flooded house due to a frozen pipe. So here are 6 tips to help minimise your worry. Tip number 1. Tell your neighbours. I've already mentioned that I let my neighbours know I'm away, but there can be more to just letting them know. Do you have on-road parking? I do. So if you're leaving your car behind, make sure you give your neighbour a car key so they can move the car if it needs it. Just before I went away, some maintenance was carried out on the road where I park, but it had to be abandoned because somebody had disappeared and their car was blocking what needed doing. If he'd lifted his key with a neighbour, the work could have been completed. Of course, you also give them a house key as well as a car key, and if you have an alarm, make sure you give them the code for that too. And if they have the keys, they can move any mail, might be blocking the doorway, which people can see. If there's a power cut, the alarm might be chirping, they can go in and reset that. And they can just keep an eye out on the house as well, check the pipes and that sort of thing. So give them your contact details while you're away, but of course if they're a good neighbour, they won't contact you unless it's really major, like your house is blown up. And if you have your family popping around to keep an eye out too, make sure that everybody knows that about the other person who's also looking after your house. And your chosen key holder, if it's a neighbour, can also open and close the curtains so it looks like there's somebody at home, and switch lights on and off. And of course, don't forget to reward all your key holders with a nice present when you come back from holiday. Tip number 2 is hide everything. Not because you don't trust your key holder, but keep everything out of sight, away from the windows, so that any temptation is removed from any passing chancer. Also, invest in a quality safe, just to put things away. And if it's an electronic safe, do ensure that you wipe any installation key code. I've mentioned in the past about hotel safes that sometimes they have the default code still stored, so if anybody knows the default code, they can get into the safe and close it again and nobody would ever know. So make sure that's gone too, because Google can tell people an awful lot of things about electronic safes. Tip number 3, tell the police, especially if you've got a house alarm, so if it does go off, they know who to tell to shut it off. I have told my local force about this in the past, but they don't seem to care. But maybe your local station will be different, and it can't harm anything to let them know. Also, I run the local neighbourhood watch in my village, and some of my neighbours tell me when they're away, and I have that's an extra pair of eyes to keep a check on the house too. But of course, if you are telling your neighbourhood watch person, do let the people who you've also asked know that there could be a strange bloke looking around the house. And nobody looks much stranger than me. Number 4 is stop deliveries. And this can be more trouble than it's worth, but you can put a stop delivery notice on your address with your local sorting office. It isn't something you can do last minute over the phone, but if you get a lot of post, you might consider doing this so it doesn't pile up by the front door if you haven't got anybody moving it for you. Of course, if somebody moving it for you, they might move it onto the sofa in plain sight of the window, so something you need to consider. But with all the different delivery methods used nowadays, stopping everything being delivered to your house can be difficult. It could be impossible. So if an unexpected catalogue or package is delivered, hopefully your key holding neighbour will remove it for you from your doorstep. Tip number 5, unplug everything. Of course, don't unplug your digital recorder, your fridge or freezer, but some appliances still consume a lot of power when on standby. After all, you're already harming the environment by flying to the other side of the world, so try to minimise your impact by saving power while you're away. Tip number 6 is don't tell the world that you're away. I know, not posting pictures of your holiday on Facebook is difficult, and in my day job it is very difficult for me not to show what I'm doing because it's part of my promotion. So I did do it, but I was very careful about what I did post and the information I shared. I didn't say how long I'm going away for or when I'll be back or anything like that. Just basically simple information about the picture that could have been posted at any time. But if you must post, do check the security settings on the website you're using, so only those that you trust can see your pictures and words. Speak to an IT expert to check the settings if you need to. It could be worth the hours charged for the peace of mind, and nobody knows more than an IT geek. If it is well known that you work from home, do be careful with your out of office message on your email as well. Do you need to set it, or can you just get away with checking your emails once in a while you're away? If you can check them while you're away, just let those you trust know that you're out of town by responding to their first email and ignoring all the ones you can. And if you use an answering service or an answering machine, make sure that your holiday isn't mentioned by either of them. Callers don't need to know that you're away, especially those who are trying to sell you PPI claims, and they don't need to know how long you're away for either. an awful lot of people do have your home address and telephone details. So if you don't answer the phone, don't say, "Oh, I'll be back in such a date," because you don't know who's calling. Of course, I do all this when I'm away, but I still worry. I'm that sort of person. But at least I know that I've done my best to minimise any problems while I'm away. If there's a tip I've missed off and it's one that you use when you go away, please share it with us at facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. You're listening to the John Guinn Travel Show on seclosounds.org. Seclo Sounds exists to bring people and communities together to celebrate all that's best about the city of Milton Keynes. We produce a variety of music and speech programs, and you've heard some of the promos in this show. And we're produced by local people and run by over 60 volunteers. However, there's always room for more, so if you have a program idea or a skill that you want to offer, please send us an email to volunteers@seclosounds.org. And of course, as we're all volunteers, we can't operate without the help from our partners, and one such partner is Interaction. Seclo Sounds is based at the old rectory, which is the home of Interaction MK. They've been bringing arts to life in Milton Keynes for over 35 years. They use the arts to improve the life chances of disabled people and others in challenging circumstances through shared creative activity. Their programs help participants to develop creative, personal and social skills. To find out more, please visit them at www.interactionmk.org.uk. You're listening to the John Guinn Travel Show on seclosounds.org. And now for the travel news. If you've ever hired a car, you know that sometimes picking it up can be a stressful situation. But it's probably never been as stressful as what happened to two holiday makers when they picked up a car from Boston Logan Airport. It wasn't until they got to the hotel that they discovered a 2-foot snake coiled up in the car. It was a non-poisonous ball python, but it was slithering over their bags when they got to the hotel and started to unpack. Now that would have been quite a shock for anybody. Apparently the ball pythons are non-poisonous, and the snake was transferred to an animal rehabilitation centre. A rehabilitation centre, I'm not sure if that's it. Whatever, it must be a posh way of saying snake pound. And they're holding on for it in case somebody claims it, and it's also going with other unwanted exotic pets. And the expert on snakes has said that the python's probably just a baby at 6 months old or less. That's not probably what's going to go through your head when you open the boot and see a snake going over your bags. You're going to go, it's just a baby. Of course, if you've hired a car and it's been more stressful than that, let me know. Facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. Now that Boris Island has officially been rejected, the expansion of the southeast airports is now down between two options at Heathrow and an extra runway at Gatwick. And Gatwick claims that free opinion polls show that it is a clear favourite with the public as the location for a new runway. The surveys that the Gatwick Airport are mentioning were carried out by YouGov, and there were polls of Londoners, people living near Gatwick and residents living near Heathrow. And while it isn't really a shocker that people in the Heathrow area would prefer the runway built somewhere else, it is a genuine shock that people near Gatwick prefer the runway to be built near Gatwick. More than 1,000 Londoners were questioned by YouGov at the start of September, and they were asked in a straight choice between Heathrow and Gatwick, which one would they choose, and if the airport was not expanded and stayed the same. So Heathrow at Gatwick, leave it the same. It's a bit clearer. Out of 1,037 adults polled, 46% responded Gatwick, 35% preferred Heathrow, and 18% said they weren't sure. And this was according to a story in the Telegraph. The same question was asked of 1,008 residents across Hounslow, Richmond, Kingston and other areas surrounding Heathrow, and 51% were in favour of Gatwick, and 2/5 supported Heathrow, and